Hello and welcome. I'm Pranay Upadhyay and you're watching India Today Global. We are beginning this bulletin with a big development in Bangladesh because Bangladesh will bid its farewell to Begum Khaleda Zia tomorrow. India will be represented at the funeral by External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar, underlining the regional significance of the moment. The spotlight now shifts to her son Tarique Rahman, the heir of Zia legacy. Back in Bangladesh after 17 years in exile, Tarique has filed his nomination and is widely seen as the new face of the BNP, stepping into the space left by his mother. As the nation bids farewell to one of the most consequential leaders, her legacy now passes to the next generation.
Bangladesh has lost one of its most consequential political figures. Begum Khaleda Zia is no more. The country's first woman prime minister and a leader who dominated its politics for more than 3 decades has passed away, closing a defining chapter in Bangladesh's turbulent democracy. Her life in politics was defined by one enduring rivalry: Khaleda Zia versus Sheikh Hasina. Two women locked in a bitter struggle for power that shaped Bangladesh's political destiny. Known as the Battle of the Begums, their feud paralyzed governance, fueled mass protests, and polarized the nation. Khaleda Zia was uncompromising, combative, and fiercely loyal to her Bangladesh Nationalist Party. As Prime Minister from 91 to 96 and 2001 to 2006, she alternated power with Sheikh Hasina, turning politics into a cycle of confrontation and counter-confrontation. Her tenure also marked a period of strained ties with India. Unlike her rival Sheikh Hasina, Khaleda Zia's BNP took a tougher stance with New Delhi. The relationship remained uneasy, shaped by mutual distrust and sharp diplomatic friction. Upon her passing, Prime Minister Modi expressed his condolences, stating that Zia would be remembered for her contributions to the development of Bangladesh and for strengthening Indo-Bangladesh ties. But Khaleda Zia was not born into politics. Born in 1945 in Dinajpur, she was married young to Ziaur Rahman, a liberation war hero who later became president. His assassination in 1981 changed her life forever. Reluctant at first, Khaleda stepped into public life, eventually taking over the BNP and leading the fight against military rule. In 91, she scripted history by becoming Bangladesh's first woman prime minister. Her later years were dominated by legal battles, jail terms, and prolonged illness. But even as her health failed, her political influence endured. That influence now rests with her son Tarique Rahman, who just recently returned to Bangladesh after 17 years of exile. The acting chief of the BNP, Tarique is widely seen as the party's prime ministerial face of the future and the heir to the Zia legacy. Her voice may have gone silent, but her legacy looks set to continue through the likely next leader of Bangladesh. Bureau Report, India Today.
So for long, Bangladesh politics was shaped by two strong women leaders, Khaleda Zia and Sheikh Hasina. And incidentally, both these leaders won't be around for the next election. And to discuss this issue, I am being joined by Rashiduzzaman Milat, Treasurer of BNP and former MP from Dhaka. Welcome to India Today Global, sir.
Thank you very much.
First of all, condolences for the BNP's loss and also for the loss of people of Bangladesh. You have lost a tall leader, Begum Khaleda Zia. Let me begin by asking you, how prepared is BNP for this setback and for the upcoming elections?
Yeah, thank you very much. First, I want to, this tell you that this moment of profound national grief, Bangladesh has lost a towering political figures whose life was deeply intervened with the country's modern history. As you said before, Begum Khaleda Zia was not just a former prime minister of the party and our chairperson. She was a symbol of religions, dignity, and the democratic struggle. You understand that by losing her, what mentality we are having now, especially the Bangladeshi people and our party, is really we are shocked. By this time, the government has declared the 3 days of the state mourning over the passing of our former Prime Minister and BNP chairperson Begum Khaleda Zia. At the same
Mr.
time, BNP also has taken a own program with hoisting the flag, black flag, and the national the party flag all over the country where we have all the offices. The diplomats from the various countries has already came to the chairperson office and
Yes.
signed the condolence book. And the BNP chairperson office was full of the diplomats, the elites, and prominent figures.
Even Prime Minister of
And
India has also expressed, his grief and
it
his
is
expressed his
from
condolences.
outside, but the
Yeah.
inside, this all the political parties, those who are not BNP, this all parties leader, they have shown their this condolence, and they came to party office and they signed in the condolence book for the mother of democracy, Begum
Indeed, she was a
Khaleda
very
Zia
tall
today.
leader of Bangladesh. But Mr. Millat, how does BNP view India's gesture of sending its External Affairs Minister, Dr. S. Jaishankar, to Khaleda Zia's janaza, funeral tomorrow?
Yeah, this we really appreciate that our neighboring country and a lot of the diplomats and your the minister is coming to join in the janaza. So and the huge janaza will be held as the uh, the President Zia Rahman when he was assassinated, then the janaza was the highest janaza in the world. You can say this was such the big gathering and ever not happened in the world. At the same time, we hope that all the the foreign minister and the other from the other country also there are people coming, and this government interim government all of the members will be there, and
But Mr. Millet, let's talk about the prevailing
from
situation also, because recently we have
various
seen, recently we have seen increase in violent incidents in Bangladesh. How assured are you about the fairness of the election, and what are your expectations from the interim administration to ensure a free and fair election in Bangladesh?
Yeah, this is a separate issue today because you see there were such a position in, and we are really shocked by losing our chairperson and Begum Khaleda Zia. Still, you ask for the questions that how this interim government will perform the coming elections. I hope they are preparing themselves, although the interim government couldn't perform the the situation of uh, our what I should say, the law and order situation was not that good, but still we're thinking the people are were, waiting for the elections for last 17 years, and they're taking the measures themselves that they will go for poll stations, and they will have own security,
Sure,
and
people
it
are
will
having
be
great
very
expectations from
nice
these
to
elections. Yeah, but Mr. Millat,
poll after
Mr.
17
Tarique
years.
Rahman, when he landed in
Yeah,
Dhaka
yeah.
on 25th of December, Mr. Tarique Rahman has said that he has come to Dhaka with a plan. So, what is BNP's plan? What is Mr. Tarique Rahman's plan to revitalize party as well as country?
Not actually the time to explain all these things. Still, as you asked for that, the Tariq Rahman whenever he stepped in Bangladesh, you see whole Bangladesh was, vibrating. And the Bangladeshi people were expecting this kind of a leader, which comes after decades and decades, such as the Khamenei, such as the Fidel Castro, and this the black Nelson Mandela, and even all this.
Obviously, this will be tested in the election, that how these promises are delivered. Thank you very much, Mr. Millat. I'm running short of time. Thank you very much for your time, and I appreciate your presence on my show. Thank you very much.
And thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you.
And moving on, let's talk about Russia-Ukraine war as well, because Russia claimed that Ukraine has launched a large drone attack on President Vladimir Putin's residence in Novgorod, calling it a terrorist act, aiming at derailing the peace talks, a charge Kiev strongly denied. The incident followed talks between Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky and US President Donald Trump, who said he was angry after being informed by President Putin. Prime Minister Narendra Modi also expressed his concern over the attack, and Mahashweta Lala with more in this report.
After Zelensky met US President Donald Trump at Mar-a-Lago in Florida, news of strike on Russian President Vladimir Putin's residence came in. Russia claimed that 91 long-range Ukraine drones attempted to strike a residence of President Putin in Novgorod Oblast, north of Moscow.
On the night of December 28th to 29th, 2025, the Kyiv regime launched a terrorist attack using 91 long-range strike UAVs on the state residence of the President of the Russian Federation of the Novgorod region. All UAVs were destroyed by air defense systems of the Russian armed forces. There were no reports of casualties or damage from UAV debris. We would like to point out that this attack took place during intensive negotiations between Russia and the United States to resolve the Ukrainian conflict.
But Zelensky denied claims of any such attack, calling it a lie of Russia.
This is yet another lie from Russian Federation. This is clear that yesterday we had a meeting with Trump. And it is clear that for Russians, if we do not have a scandal with America and we have progress, for them it is a failure. Now with their statement that some of their residences were attacked, they are simply preparing. I'm sure, preparing. In principle, the ground for striking, probably the capital and probably state buildings. We already had this in September. There was a missile strike on the cabinet of ministers.
Russia calls the attack in Novgorod a terrorist act, aiming at disrupting the ongoing Russia-Ukraine peace talks. The attack has also prompted Russia for stronger diplomatic and military consequences.
This is indeed a terrorist act aimed at disrupting the negotiations. It is directed not only personally against President Putin, and here I would like to recall Zelensky's Christmas address and what he said about Putin, but also against Trump. It is aimed to undermine President Trump's efforts to advance a peaceful settlement of the conflict in Ukraine. The diplomatic consequences of these actions by the Kyiv regime will be a tougher negotiating position of the Russian Federation. As for the military consequences, our military knows how and when to respond.
Meanwhile, Trump responded to the attack as no good and said was angry. He said Putin had informed him about the attack.
I heard about it this morning. You know who told me about it? President Putin told me about it. Early in the morning, he said he was attacked. It's no good. It's no good. Don't forget, the Tomahawks. I stopped the Tomahawks. I didn't want that. Because we're talking about, it's a delicate period of time. This is not the right time. It's one thing to be offensive, because they were offensive. It's another thing to attack his house. It's not the right time to do any of that. And can't do it. And I learned about it from President Putin today. I was very angry about it.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi expressed deep concerns over the attack on President Putin's residence. India has always advocated that this is not an era of war. Following the attack, Russian Defense Ministry released a video of what it said was the deployment of the Russian nuclear-capable hypersonic Oreshnik missile system in Belarus. Russia also said its armed forces had taken control of one settlement in the Donetsk region, while Ukraine reported that its troops had repelled multiple attacks from Russian forces. With Mahashweta Lala, Bureau Report, India Today.
And now let's talk about another tension which is brewing in the Indo-Pacific region. China's PLA's Eastern Theater Command continued its Justice Mission 2025 live-fire drill around Taiwan. Releasing footage show that the air, naval and rocket forces simulating strikes on strategic targets. The exercise involved coordinated air-sea operations, long-range rocket launches, and anti-air and anti-submarine drills aimed at testing blockade and joint combat capabilities around the island.
During a second day of the joint live fire drills by the Eastern Theater Command of the Chinese People's Liberation Army Code named Justice Mission 2025 around the Taiwan Island, a video titled Target Elimination, Line Breakage, Port Isolation was released. The footage showed the drills from the Air Force and the Rocket Force focusing on neutralizing strategic targets, joint sea and air exercises on cutting off supply line, and long-range rockets launching drills on sealing off key ports. The Theatre Command said multiple destroyers, frigates, fighters, and bombers are being employed on subjects of identification and verification, warning and expulsion, stimulator strikes, assault on maritime targets, as well as anti-air and anti-submarine operations to the north and south of the Taiwan Island. Long-range rocket fires are being launched at targets in designated waters to the north of Taiwan's island. The drills are aimed at testing the military forces' capabilities of sea-air coordination and integrated blockade and control. In the recent months, Taiwan has also ramped up its military to counter the growing Chinese threat in the skies and around the island. Taiwan has emphasized on drone operations and combat training conducted by reservists. They had organized 14-day reservist program which included drone operations as well as training on new portable weapons.
We call on the Chinese authorities to act rationally and with self-restraint to immediately seize irresponsible, provocative behavior and not to misjudge the situation and become a troublemaker undermining regional peace. Our government will also continue to closely cooperate with all parties in the region to jointly protect the rules-based international order and safeguard peace, stability and security in the Indo-Pacific.
A day earlier, Russian Foreign Ministry Sergei Lavrov, in an interview with TASS, said Russia opposes Taiwan's independence in any form since their territory is an integral part of China. China has also claimed Taiwan to be an integral part of it, while the island opposes Chinese assertion and prefer democratic rule over communist government. Though US has claimed to have good relations with China, the recent arms package of $11 billion to Taiwan has drawn the ire of Beijing.
The Taiwan issue is the core of China's core interest, and China's resolve to safeguard national sovereignty, security and territorial integrity is unwavering. Any vile act of crossing the line and provoking on the Taiwan question will be met with China's firm countermeasures. Any sinister attempt to obstruct China's reunification will never succeed.
The drill also comes amid tensions with Japan. Last month, Japanese Prime Minister Sanai Takaichi, while responding to an opposition lawmaker in parliament about survival-threatening situations. said an attack on US warships sent to break any Chinese blockade on Taiwan could require Tokyo to intervene militarily to defend itself and its ally. China has also urged all nations seeking peace to take actions to resolutely contain the revival of Japanese militarism. With Mahashweta Lala, Bureau Report, India Today.
Saudi Arabia-led Joint Coalition Command has carried out an airstrike on the southern Yemeni port of Mukalla. Meanwhile, Saudi has also called UAE to withdraw its forces within 24 hours from Yemen. The warning represented Riyadh's strongest language against Abu Dhabi, yet as the coalition struck, what is it described as the foreign military support to UAE-backed southern separatists, and the head of Yemen's Saudi-backed Presidential Council set the deadline for Emirate forces to leave. The Saudi-led coalition said the limited airstrike followed the weekend arrival of 2 ships from UAE port without its authorization. After arriving in Mukalla, the vessels disabled their tracking system and unloaded large quantity of weapons and combat vehicles to support the STC. According to Saudi state media, the coalition said the Mukalla port strike caused no casualty or collateral damage. And for the last 2 days, chaos has descended on the streets of several Iranian cities and towns, with the Iranian rial plunging to over 42,000 against US dollar and inflation rising to over 42%. The clerical regime of Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei is facing the biggest protest in 3 years. The financial distress and law and order breakdown in a country of over 92 million people now poses a serious challenge to Iran's clerical regime, already struggling to recover from the Israel and US strikes on its nuclear capabilities in May 2025. An image shared by the credible Iranian experts show a man sitting motionless in middle of a Tehran highway as the regime forces on motorcycle move in to crush protests. Jason Brodsky, the police director of United Action Against Nuclear Iran, linked the image of the lone man on the iconic photo of the China's brutal crushing of the Tiananmen Square of 1989. Iran has been witnessing its biggest street protest in 3 years since 2022-2023, when people took to streets following the death of Masha Amini. And talks between US President Donald Trump and Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu in Gaza were briefly overshadowed by a hot mic moment in which Trump expressed frustration that his diplomatic effort had not been recognized. The exchange occurred as Trump sat down to lunch with Netanyahu and their delegation during talks focused on Gaza. In a clip that went viral, Trump can be heard ranting that his efforts had gone unrewarded. The US president listed what he claimed were his conflict resolution success. Moments later, spotting reporters nearby, Trump abruptly switched tone before praising the meeting as productive and ushering the press out.
We've already settled about 3 of the difficulties.
And Trump also revived the repeated claim that he helped the diffuse tension between India and Pakistan during Operation Sindoor. Since May, he has repeatedly said Washington played a key role in securing a full and immediate ceasefire between the 2 countries during the conflict that triggered by the Pahalgam terror attack. India has firmly rejected Trump's version. New Delhi has said that the understanding on ending hostilities followed direct talks between the 2 military Director General of Military Operations, not by any third-party mediation.
But to both of them, I said, we're going to cut you off, no more trade. Then I put 200% tariffs on. The next day they called. We looked at 35 years of fighting, and they stopped. Do I get credit for it? No. They gave me. I did 8 of them. India. How about India and Pakistan? And then, so I did 8 of them, and then I'll tell you the rest of it. How are you doing? Okay. You're going to all be outside, the beautiful sun. Good. Enjoy your lunch. It's a very good group. We've made a lot of progress already. We had about a 5-minute meeting, and we've already settled about 3 of the difficulties. So thank you very much for being here.
Thank you, Press. Thank you, Press. Thank you, Press. Thank you, Press.
Thank you.
And that's all we have in this bulletin. We are leaving you with what else happening around the world in World at a Glance.
Snow fell overnight in upstate New York, Syracuse, as the National Weather Service issued a winter storm warning until New Year's Eve. According to the NWS, a heavy lake effect is to be expected until Wednesday morning, with total snowfall expected between 30 to 60 centimeters and winds as high as 50 miles per hour. Eurostar has cancelled all services due to major disruption in the Channel Tunnel. It says there is a problem with the overhead power supply and a subsequent failed Le Shuttle train. Le Shuttle, which carries road vehicle and passengers through the tunnel, is also warning of disruption. China has proposed strict new rules for artificial intelligence to provide safeguards for children and prevent chatbots from offering advice that could lead to self-harm or violence. Under the planned regulation, developers will also need to ensure their AI models do not generate content that promotes gambling.